This is what I'm talking about, Michael, and I'm sick of this. I'm sick of people not dealing in facts, not checking first before they go off and say things that then get repeated. And as we know, the lie travels faster than the truth. This is just idiotic to literally say, I don't know. I could have my smart producer check, but let me just rip the folks anyway.
Yeah, Roland, it is unprofessional, it's irresponsible, and it's dangerous. And I'm somebody who's been in media 15 years. I've done over probably close to 2,000 episodes of the African History Network show. I do all the research for it. I book guests, book experts in the areas that we're talking about. And I said before on this show, if Shut Up and Dribble were a person, it would be Stephen A. Smith. I think the A stands for asinine. He has absolutely no clue what he's talking about. And he just gets up here and just spews this nonsense. But if he just Googled, have the Democrats requested the Epstein files, you see the piece from PolitiFact from Debbie Wasserman Schultz, U.S. House of Representatives page, and it goes through and breaks down this timeline, and it talks about how Democratic lawmakers began to seek records about Epstein after the Miami Herald's late 2018 investigation into the case. And it goes through and breaks this down. It talks about different people, whether it's U.S. Representative Elijah Cummings, Senator Tim Kaine. It talks about Democratic efforts and also calling for an investigation into the plea deal that Alex Acosta did for Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. And lastly, it's important to also note that she was prosecuted by the Biden administration, Ghislaine Maxwell, 2021, Biden administration prosecution, and sentenced in June 2022. That's on the Justice Department's website right now. Now, that's just me doing a Google search. I don't have nobody working for me. So Stephen A. Smith is full of shit.
Last 48 hours, a lot of stuff being talked about in Washington, D.C. as a result of these emails from Jeffrey Epstein being released. Donald Trump is losing his mind. He's cussing everybody out. He's mad, upset. Now he's talking about unleashing the Department of Justice against Bill Clinton and every single Democrat. He is absolutely losing his mind. Somebody else who has lost their mind over this stuff is Stephen A. Smith. On his Sirius XM radio show, he went on this loud rant. If you didn't see it or you didn't hear it, check this out.
I have no problem with the Epstein files being exposed. I think anybody who's done what Jeffrey Epstein did should be thrown under the damn jail. They should spend the rest of their natural born life in prison if he was alive to do it. Young girls being sexually molested is as disgusting as it gets. It is as vile as it gets. We ain't making any excuses for anybody like that. What a despicable, despicable human being. There's a special place in hell for people like that. But that's not what anybody can definitively associate the president with. He knew Epstein, so did Bill Clinton. So did a plethora of other famous people inside and outside the world of politics. Incriminating emails, well, what specifically and how significant was it? And when we sit up there as Democrats and we're applauding on the House floor, now that Alita Grijalva was there talking about she'll be the final vote to sit up there and open the Epstein files, and everybody's applauding for the Democratic Party. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that the Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration. You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then? What am I missing? I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question. Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open or being open now with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails, that could have been done when Biden was in office. Well, why didn't you do it? If it's so important now. What were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time? See, this is the kind of stuff that smells. Because my attitude is just deducing how much they despise Trump is if there was some real bona fide dirt on him, since you went after him with the 34 felony convictions, which essentially was deduced to him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, a porn star, so she wouldn't reveal their happenings with one another leading up to the election in 2016. Okay? If you had something like that you were willing.
Okay. Stephen A. says, maybe I'm missing something. You are. Then he says he's an extraordinary producer. And maybe they could research it. Yeah. How about you do the damn research before you go on the air on an epic rant, Stephen A.? Like, I don't understand why black people or other folks with shows don't know how to do research before they open their mouths. What you just heard is misinformation and disinformation. Do you know who corrected Stephen A.? Somebody named Julie K. Brown. Julie K. Brown is a reporter for the Miami Herald. It has been the Miami Herald that has done amazing reporting on the Epstein case. We know about all the details of what's happened with Jeffrey Epstein, the previous deal being cut, the sweetheart jail deal he got because of Julie Brown and the reporters of the Miami Herald. This is what she tweeted. This is a complicated case with a, quote, all caps, lot of files. So I know it's easy to confuse what's what. What Stephen doesn't understand is that the emails released Wednesday are from Epstein's estate. They were obtained from Epstein's lawyers pursuant to a subpoena that was issued by the House Oversight Committee, lawmakers. These documents are separate from the criminal case files held by the DOJ and the FBI that Trump and Bondi, the Attorney General, promised to release after the election. As for why Biden and the Democrats didn't release the criminal case files, Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein, Maxwell's criminal case was still open during the Biden administration. She wasn't convicted until late 2021, and then she appealed her conviction. Generally, it's not a good idea to open your evidence files when a criminal case is ongoing. We also don't know whether the FBI was still investigating other possible suspects who helped Epstein or participated in his crimes. If you are still targeting suspects, you don't want them to know you are zeroing in on them. This is what I keep trying to tell these people who are in media. When you have a mega microphone, you need to be judicious with how you use it. You need to be careful with what you say and how you say it, and you need to have your facts right. So when people are in, listening to you. They're taking cues from you. And so all of a sudden, folks are going, oh my God, what the hell were Biden and the Democrats doing? They couldn't release them because they didn't have them. And so Stephen A. is broadcasting on Sirius XM radio all around the country. And people are taking his clip and they're reposting it on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Snapchat, on Fanbase, on Spoutable, Spill, LinkedIn, everywhere. And he's wrong. And see, this is what I cannot stand. I cannot stand when a journalist or a media personality says, I'm just asking a question. I'm just giving my opinion. What the hell are you talking about? I get asking questions. So here's how it worked. Stephen A., you and your producing team, you book experts like a Julie Brown. And in fact, it would be smart for y'all to book her on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. What you do is you ask the experts the question. You say, Julie, you're a reporter with the Miami Herald. You've been covering this story for years. Can you explain to me why these files were released now and not when Biden was president? That's how you ask a question. But Stephen A. didn't ask a question. Stephen A. asked a question and then gave his answer to the question, and but before doing so, admitting he didn't actually know the answer. Do y'all know how dangerous that is? That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent of going off on a player for not suiting up. And then you find out later, oh, he was injured. Did you check and call before you attacked the player for being injured? This is what I'm talking about, Michael, and I'm sick of this. I'm sick of people not dealing in facts, not checking first before they go off and say things that then get repeated. And as we know, the lie travels faster than the truth. This is just idiotic to literally say, I don't know. I could have my smart producer check, but let me just rip the folks anyway.
Yeah, Roland, it is unprofessional, it's irresponsible, and it's dangerous. And I'm somebody who's been in media 15 years. I've done over probably close to 2,000 episodes of the African History Network show. I do all the research for it. I book guests, book experts in the areas that we're talking about. And I said before on this show, if Shut Up and Dribble were a person, it would be Stephen A. Smith. I think the A stands for asinine. He has absolutely no clue what he's talking about. And he just gets up here and just spews this nonsense. But if he just Googled, have the Democrats requested the Epstein files, you see the piece from PolitiFact from Debbie Wasserman Schultz, U.S. House of Representatives page, and it goes through and breaks down this timeline, and it talks about how Democratic lawmakers began to seek records about Epstein after the Miami Herald's late 2018 investigation into the case. And it goes through and breaks this down. It talks about different people, whether it's U.S. Representative Elijah Cummings, Senator Tim Kaine. It talks about Democratic efforts and also calling for an investigation into the plea deal that Alex Acosta did for Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. And lastly, it's important to also note that she was prosecuted by the Biden administration, Ghislaine Maxwell. 2021, Biden administration prosecution, and sentenced in June 2022. That's on the Justice Department's website right now. Now, that's just me doing a Google search. I don't have nobody working for me. So Stephen A. Smith is full of shit.
I don't, when Coney, I'm just, here's a perfect example, when Coney. If you want to say, Democrats, why are you now making such a big deal out of the Epstein files? Okay, fine. You give that commentary, give that rant, whatever. If you want to say, hey, the people who also are really pushing this Epstein stuff is the hard right. Now, if you want to criticize them, okay, go right ahead. But what I don't understand is how you literally admit that you don't know the facts, and then you then choose to opine on what happened not knowing the facts. Here's the deal. I don't know all the ins and outs of the Jeffrey Epstein story. But what I do know is that I follow Julie K. Brown. And what I do know, when Cooney, is that she follows me. And I have been following her Twitter feed for quite some time. And I get the facts from her. And if I had a question regarding this case that I wasn't sure about, it's a good bet. The first thing I'm going to do is go to her feed, because she truly is the expert on this, because she's been covering from day one.
Well, that would be too intelligent for Stephen A. Smith to do, Roland. I want Black people to stop getting their political news from Stephen A. Smith. I hope that people didn't forget that 2 weeks ago, he was wrong about Jasmine Crockett, and he's wrong again. His track record has proven.
So, control room, I've lost.
Can you hear me, Roland? His track record has proven time and time again that he's made it the issue of the public to go fact check and see what he's saying is true or not true. And in this case, it's clearly not true. We already went through all the logistics on why his statements were erroneous. And then 2 weeks ago, when he spoke about his public critique of Jasmine Crockett, he was lambasted by Black media and the Black community for getting it wrong. Yet he's still not learned his lesson on how to fact check. He's still not learned his lesson on how to do basic research to ensure that what he's saying is right. And this is the issue with giving anyone with a microphone a platform. How does that continue to help the Black people that Stephen A. Smith has continued to posture himself as helping by miseducating them? Continuing to miseducate Black people is an issue. Not only that, but in the salacious rant, he makes it a party issue. I think anybody on this platform can agree that this is not a party issue. It's not about Democrats and Republicans. This issue is an issue about, something salacious like a sex crime involving minors, and everybody involved needs to be held accountable for it by, again, making it a Republican Democratic issue and saying, why didn't the Democrats unseal the files sooner? Why wasn't this done? Why wasn't that done? And pointing it to the Democrats. Oftentimes I ask myself, is Stephen A. Smith being paid by the Republican Party? Because he's doing a fantastic job of following the footsteps of President Trump in terms of miseducation. So we really have to see that stop. And if Stephen A. Smith is going to continue to posture himself as a champion of Black people, he needs to start by getting the facts right.
So, my opinion on it is, I think when Cooney's right, I didn't get a chance to hear everything she was saying. But, one of the things I think is kind of lost in this conversation in two respects is, first, when you're somebody like Stephen A. Smith and you have the kind of following that you do, you act in a fiduciary capacity, meaning when people are listening to you, there's an element of trust, right? They need to be able to trust that what you're saying, especially when you're speaking on a topic du jour as major as the Epstein files and the release of that information, and whether the sitting president was involved in sex trafficking or involved in the abuse of minors, then you need to be, judicious, to use your word, and smart about making sure you're not spreading misinformation. But the larger overarching thing for me is the premise of his comments was that he was implying, right, that this is like politically motivated, or they didn't do this under Biden and now they're doing it under Trump. I mean, look, when somebody gets elected president, they talk about whether they're going to release their tax returns and all this other information that's relatively arcane about that person's life. You mean to tell me it's a surprise or it's somehow immediately nefarious that the world and the country would want to know if he was involved in the sexual abuse of minors? I mean, of course, you absolutely need to know that. And we live in a per se bizarro world where the president can even have this kind of relationship with a person like Epstein and not immediately be excoriated and run out of the White House. I mean, that alone is, I think, a proof positive sign of where our society is these days. But for Stephen A. Smith to imply that people should just, immediately read into that somehow there's something nefarious going on is stupid, because I mean, Trump's been trying to hide this information. We know the Republicans have been trying to hide it. And part of it is because if you're that close to somebody, then there's a good chance you saw and or participated in things. And the American people absolutely need to know that about their sitting president. So none of that surprises me. And I think he's got a fiduciary duty to be better about the information or misinformation that he's putting out.
Visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for this new 10-week online course. So we're going to teach this on Sundays, normally 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're running late today. So as soon as I finish this broadcast, I was going to start the class about 5:30 p.m. today. Because it's a holiday weekend, I'm going to do a quick introduction to the class so you could join us for that. Class is on sale, $80. You get 5 of my lectures free in digital download format, okay, when you register for this as well. Click right here, register here. You can do debit card, credit card, what have you. If you want to do it through Cash App, send it through our Cash App is here, $ the AHN show through Cash App. You click on the link. It takes you here. And if you send it through Cash App, follow it up with an email. You can email me through the website right here. Contact the African History Network at the top. If you send it through Cash App, follow up with an email. Let me know you sent the registration through Cash App. And this is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN show, SHOW. When you go to it, it'll say Michael. These are some fake African History Network Cash App accounts that have been stealing money from us. I'm still trying to get them shut down. Here's our PayPal link right here. Also, okay. So this is African empires, the Moors, and the transatlantic slave trade, 5000 BC to 1800 AD. Okay, so this is a new 10-week online course that I'm teaching. I've been teaching online history classes going back to 2017, and I put these classes together, put together the curriculum. There are about 200 slides in this class, 80 to 100 articles that we reference, 15 books. You don't have to buy any of the books. I'll show you screenshots of the book as well. The content is PG-13. You can use this with your children, okay? And it's very engaging. It is interactive also. There's a class chat, so you can ask me questions in the class also. You can see me, I can't see you, so you don't have to worry about that. All right. Okay, look, we're about to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace. Also, you can support the African History Network through PayPal and Cash App. We have the information right on the homepage of my website. If you scroll down, $ the AHN show through Cash App and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. This is our Cash App. Tag $ the AHN show, SHOW. When you go to it, it'll say Michael and show my picture there. Okay, these are some fake African History Network Cash App accounts that have been stealing money from us. And I put our tag right here. Here's our link to our Cash App, QR code Okay, so you can support us there. If you want to donate support us $5, $10, $15, $25, $50, $100, whatever it is. It definitely helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, pay some of the bills, and broadcast the Sunday night show also. And here's our link for PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Okay. All right. So look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time.